special visitor on Christmas Eve. At the end of 1944, the Second World War was drawing to a close. The Allied forces bombed Bangum and Austria, occupied by Germany in 3 turns, and began to attack the German mainland. There is a small wooden house in the German Ardennes forest near the Belgian border. Granny Hans, who is in her 60s, lives in the cabin. Grandma Hans' husband was originally a forest ranger. Soon after the war was called up to work in an arsenal, she died in an accident. Her son was killed on the front line, and her daughter-in-law died in an Allied airstrike. Now she and grandson Coleman are the only ones left. When Christmas came, the grandparents and grandsons only have half a bag of flour, 8 potatoes, and in the cellar, and a rooster that crowed every day. They had to rely on these foods to survive in this cold winter. Suddenly, when someone knocked on the door, Grandma Hans hurried blew out the candle to open the door. 2 soldiers wearing helmets stood outside the door, and behind them was a soldier bleeding on his thigh. The standing soldier was speaking in a language she didn't understand, and at the same time drew with her hands. Grandma Hans immediately knew that standing in front of her was an American soldier, Germany's mortal enemy. The American soldiers did not understand German, and the grandparents and grandchild did not understand English. Fortunately, Grandma Hans and the wounded soldier could speak a few French. Seeing that the American soldiers were seriously injured, Grandma Hans couldn't help but move her compassion and let them in. The one American soldier was named Roger. According to him, the tall soldier is called Tony, and the black soldier is called Harwell. They belonged to the 1st American Army. After the battle the day before yesterday, they were separated from the large army and rushed through the forest for 2 days. They were hungry and cold and disappeared. They just saw the light here, so they came to ask for help. Grandma Hans told her grandson, "Go and catch the big rooster and 8 potatoes." As Grandma Hans set the table, someone knocked on the door. This time, 5 German soldiers stood outside the door. The grandson Coleman was trembling with fright, because harboring an enemy army would be executed as a traitor. Grandma Hans was also very scared, but she still forced her composure and went forward and said, "Merry Christmas. We can't find the troops. Can we rest here for a night?" asked the corporal in charge. "Of course," Grandma Hans said. "You can still have a hot meal. However, I have 3 guests here, and you probably wouldn't treat them as friends. Now we are going to spend Christmas Eve shooting here. Is it an American soldier?" the corporal asked alertly. "Listen," Grandma Hans said solemnly. "You and the few people in the house, you can all be my sons. Tonight, let me ask you in the name of my mother to forget the war and have a peaceful Christmas night." The 5 German soldiers were stunned for a while. The corporal turned his head, opened his hands to his friends, and made a helpless gesture. Granny Hans said, "That's all. Come in. Put your guns on the tray in the corner of the house, and it's time to eat." The German soldiers placed their weapons on the tray, and the American soldiers followed it. They huddled together very nervously, all with awkward expressions. At this time, Granny Hans calmly said, "There is not enough food here. Coleman, go to the cellar and get some flour up there. The children are starving." When Grandson Coleman got out of the storage room when he brought the flour, he found that the German soldier who had studied at the Frankfurt Academy was examining Roger's wound and said, "This gentleman's wound is not inflamed, thanks to the weather. However, he lost too much blood and needs rest and nutrition. The enemies who don't share the same things seem to be a family at this moment." This particular truce lasts until the next morning. Grandma Hans and grandson used 2 wooden sticks and the only tablecloth in the house to make a stretcher. Let Roger lie on it, and then sent the 3 guests to the door. At this time, the German corporal walked outside the door, took out a map from their bag, and pointed the American soldier how to get to their line of defense, and shook hands to say goodbye. Granny Hans choked and said, "Children, I hope you can return to your home safely one day. God bless you." The German and American soldiers walked up in turn, kissed Granny Hans on the forehead, and then turned toward, walked in the opposite direction, and disappeared in the white forest. George wrote in the masterpiece False, "The eternal woman leads us to ascend." Here, Grandma Hans is undoubtedly a great woman, letting the 8 hatred enemies forget their hatred and abandon politics, faith, spend a peaceful Christmas Eve together peacefully. What kind of magic power is this that allowed the 2 opposing parties to leave us a true story with a fairy tale color during the cruel war? That is people's desire for home and relatives, for warmth and tenderness. As Grandma Hans said, "Children, I hope that one day you can return to your home safely. God bless you."